So hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about value proposition of using serverless in AWS for businesses. So let's begin. Whom we have today? We have Matheus. He is from AWS, Senior Partner Solution Architect, and me, Sergey. I'm from Intetics, where I'm working as a project manager, and also I'm Cloud Solutions Center of Excellence leader there. I think all of you know a lot about AWS, so let me say a few words about Intetics. Intetics is a cloud-native consultancy that focuses on providing solutions to businesses, enabling them to exploit the potential of the cloud and its native feature. Intetics integrate complex solutions with cloud for different kinds of businesses for more than 10 years. We will cover a couple of key studies later today. So introduction part is done, and let's move to our topic. Today we want to talk about serverless and AWS. First of all, we need to answer the question, what is serverless? Serverless is a cloud-native development model that allows developers to build and run applications without having to manage servers. Why serverless could be interesting for you? This topic is very popular nowadays because with serverless, you don't need to spend time on resource creation or maintenance. And it's only one benefit that we can get from the definition, but serverless may be useful for you not only because of it. And now Matheus will do a deep dive to serverless unique value proposition. Matheus, please.
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much, Sergey, to having me here. So, really enjoy, Intetics work, and thank you very much for having me here. And so, first of all, welcome everybody. So, my name is Matheus Arrais. I'm a senior partner solution architect here on the AWS. I've been in position for the last 2.5 years, and I have the pleasure today to talk a little bit more about serverless on the AWS. And we're gonna have some Q&A in the end as well, answer some questions. So feel free to to send some questions we can answer for you as well. So what are the most successful customers want for us, right? What lets them innovate quickly and compete in the market and deliver value for the customers? So one of the first thing is they want to have teams that deliver products to customer as fast as possible. They want to also to have application and infrastructure be reliable, right available and scalable. Of course, they also want to have highest security and isolation. And on top of that, they want to do all of this with lower cost ownership. So, but what is the barrier to accomplish there? So, first of all, one of the things that the CIO is telling us that they are spending a lot of time, in maintenance and operation. So 80% of developers today are saying are having, some focus in problems in order to, innovate fast and move quickly with the application developer. So but how can we say about serverless, and why serverless is having adoption growing fast? So serverless strategy enable customers to focus on things that benefits the customers and not in infrastructure management. So for instance, we launched AWS Lambda more than 6 years ago, and now we have thousands of customers having built these applications that are already drive trillions of invocation per month, and AWS Lambda itself continues growing. So one of the reasons that the customer are adopting serverless strategy is aligned with what the customer are looking for. So for instance, agility, it's one of the things that the customers are looking for. So basically, we have four key areas where we are always innovating and trying to provide those simple and power capabilities. So first of all, agility. So helping developers operate, move fast. Second, performance, so to support many workloads as possible. Third, lowest cost, right, falling by the usage, right, and building and continuous improving security. When when organization opts for serverless technology as their first choice for application design, we can call this serverless first approach. So organization that takes serverless first approach offloads more undifferentiated tasks to management servers and free to focus only into their core business. So take an instance for Coca-Cola, for example. Everyone knows Coca-Cola, and it's a great example how serverless strategy enable agility when they had to react quickly to make changes brought to by the COVID-19 pandemic. So they want to provide a touchless experience for their free styles drink dispenser, and so they build a new smartphone app that allows customer to order and pay for drinks without coming into the contact with their vending machines. Pretty cool, right? So because they build on top of Lambda, their team were able to focus on the application rather than security, latency, scalability, since with Lambda, that's all building. And as a result, they built this new application in just 100 days. And now they have more than 30,000 machines that have this, touchless capability. Pretty cool, right? But ultimately, uh, when you make technical decisions, you have to consider your existing application portfolio, right? And you have a few options in order to do that. So first of all, you can start from the fresh, right, and build a new application. And this is an area where many customers start, and it makes sense because you can build with serverless building blocks from then grow up without addressing any technical depth. Sergey going to cover about what serverless architecture looks like today. Second, you have when it comes to your existing portfolio, you have a few options that not involve a server outcome per se. For instance, you can reduce the amount of stuff that you are directly responsible for, either by retiring the system or even adopting SaaS. Next, you can do a lift and shift migration to AWS. Most of our customers benefits for doing this quickly to get out of the data center management and go to the most common environment. And then when it comes to modernization, and we can do replatform or refactor, and these are two options where we will spend some time over here. So first of all, replatform. So when it comes to replatform, it means to moving from a servers to a managing service by yourself, to servers to that AWS can management for you. So such as, for instance, a management database that you manage by yourself. Now you can use for instance, Amazon RDS. And a refactor, it's where the customer is seeing the biggest transformation of all. So successful customers start to do by refactoring their most critical application, because it's customer facing application, because you can have more time to market, and also you can have more TCO. And in order to do that, let's take a look on the things that we are seeing customer are building today. So we are seeing customer building a wide variety of application with serverless today, with this building box, but there are a few common areas where they tend to see huge benefits. First of all, they often start with IT automation, right? Using, for instance, Amazon AWS Lambda functions, you can do a validation for some configuration in your EC2 machines, where it is when it start to be launched. Next, you can have individual teams my starting Lambda integration with S3, and or even Kinesis streams to build a data process applications. That's a common error as well. And then you can have experience spread, and multiple teams will start to building whole microservice based application, often for web application as well. And finally, then often most use of Lambda, for instance, you can have on machine learning application that you can use for training and things like that on based on machine learning application. So one of the most thing actually one of the things that is most come across serverless application, it's they follow by design ideas of the internet and the web, small pieces losing join. So all these applications are modular, right? So composing from multiple AWS servers and customer development components. It's why we are focused on delivering lot of integrations with AWS Lambda and Event Bridge and API gradient and step function. Sergey gonna cover a little bit more that in detail as well. So we want to make easy to build new application and new functionality through losing coupling with other components. So while many customers associate serverless with Lambda, actually serverless, excuse me, it's way more than that, right? So you can see in this slide that while Lambda offer many key advantages for the customers, it's really when all these other components surround Lambda that we start to see much bigger benefits. Messaging, orchestration, we have storage with S3, we have also Fargate, right? AWS Fargate with Lambda as a secret sauce of the compute piece. And by in fact, it's really when all these components come together that we really see big gains. So we have the intentionality to avoid talking too much about servers in this conversation, but you can see the difference between a management server and a serverless server on the AWS. So you're gonna see AWS operation responsibility model in a whole, in this slide. So one of the things that you can see is the layers of the abstraction, right? So, for instance, share responsibility model. It's one of our models for security. So AWS is responsible for security in the cloud, off the cloud, sorry, and the customer is responsible for the security in the cloud, which means that you're gonna see a lot of changings in terms of the layers. So, for instance, if you're using analytics and you can use Redup, right? Redup on top of EC2. But if you change for management server, you're gonna have less operational responsibility in delivery more into your core business and focus more into your core business and having more responsibility to AWS in order to operate and maintain that particular servers using, for instance, Amazon Athena. Or even though AWS Lambda itself, so you can use EC2, Amazon EC2 is pretty normal. So, but when you change for Fargate and AWS Lambda, like we said, you can focus only on the core business and your application, the code, and AWS is going to take care of all the rest. So every decision that you make will impact where your time is spent or how your team's gonna operationalize. So this application came across a very aspect of your application. For instance, technology decisions drive your business strategy, right? So modern applications, and you can see that from this next slide, be characterized by 5 vectors. There first of all, their architecture patterns is modular. Okay, so software delivers. Go back one slide again. So software delivers practicals, it's automations, right, and standardized. So data strategy is distributed and fit for one purpose. So operation model is also as serverless and automation as possible. And the second is management and governance. So application, it's built in a way that enable you to achieve the agility that you need and to innovate on your behalf and the behalf of your customers. Okay, so how about the organic adoption pattern for serverless? So for most customer the process of adoption a serverless strategy is incremental, in fact. So, and we observe, a pattern. We refer this as an organic adopt pattern. This is because the grassroots and tends to occur without any outside influence, right? So basically, it starts with the developer, and who discover that Lambda can help then automate basic IT stuff. Then just using it for a small projects like cron jobs or projects they can start and complete it without permission, they start wonder what else they can use to apply this principle in order to data transformation or any other next common project. So this is highly profile. So we start to see this involvement of the director and the leadership. And then eventually the executives start to notice that projects are being delivered more fast and under the budget. And they realize and start to think what other areas they can apply this same pattern. So should we use serverless for everywhere? At this point, the CTO has all of a sudden taken notes, and we are talking about apply serverless for any model across the organization. So it's usually organic adoption of pattern. But a lot of our customers want to get out in want to get a spreadsheet and wants to do a side-by-side comparison of which is cost to run their application in EC2 and Lambda before they even write any code for Lambda. So the TCO and the change of the role operation. So and the Lambda, uh, they usually when they do that comparison with EC2 and Lambda, they usually conclude that Lambda is way too expensive. But the truth is that role of operation changes too much with the Lambda, and they really needs to think about that look like in the practice side. So it's difficult to estimate the cost of Lambda before doing a POC. So before running infrastructure as a code. So if you took, for instance, two dev teams working in two applications, they are both using Lambda, and they're going to have two different builds. So we can evaluate how elegant and efficient their code looks like, look into the build, because it's going to be different, because Lambda is you pay by the CPU, and you can use Lambda in very different relationship of those things, right? So this means that thinking about TCO is really on you really need to think about that on the development phase. No more free servers for development. You can then design, efficient, and we reap with the reward with the bills. Now, I would like to say that serverless, it's more than just innovation itself. Sorry, actually, it's more than innovation, right? Because our goal here is to make your market, go to market fast and with the lowest TCO. And we have, talking about innovation, and we want to help you innovation as well. So when you think about serverless provide, you can think about, like I said, agility. And with that, you can have, for instance, our new AWS extensions to integrate with your, code and legacy, application as well. We just launched, a few days ago about, performance side. We can spend with 10 gigabytes of memory in Lambda's function. We also expand, for 10 gigabytes for ephemeral storage as well. You can do, provisioning concurrence, auto scaling. Now you can also have lowest TCO because we're gonna build it just for 1 millisecond, and you have flexible savings plan. And there are more than 140 integration with SaaS products with, AWS Lambda. So, okay, Matheus, that is a lot of stuff, and that is a lot of, material. But how can I do the first steps? Yeah, and anyway, to get it started, I want to suggest, first of all, find your serverless developers and really understand what they are doing. You might think that serverless has not made its, a way to your organization yet, but in our experience, developers will always find faster way to complete our repetitive tasks, and you'll be surprised how pervasive, serverless is. Second, thinking about building a small team dedicated just to evaluate the power of serverless. Indicate this in a cross-functional or cross-representative multiple teams, so you can all have learnings how easily can serverless be spread across your organization. And last, make it easy to one of the first tasks of this team to choose a lighthouse project, something that can be achieved in a few sprints, that could be delivered, immediately, value, but it isn't a part of your core business application. The idea here is just, to get, a reasonable quickly win and drive momentum from there. Okay, so, and also you can have, for this type of lighthouse POC product, the experience from Intetics, a partner that AWS, knows about it and have really, experience on that area as well. With that, I would like to pass to Sergey in order to show some, less projects the Intetics implement for customers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matheus. I think all of us understand this topic much better now. So let's move on and let's discuss how AWS can help our clients solve their needs. So Intetics build AWS classic solutions as well as serverless. And here as example, you can see that Intetics built cloud-based multifunctional platform for editorial management. Here, a client needed a SaaS solution and competent partner to create and implement the complex software. And as a result, after the release, system reached more than 200 clients with more than 20,000 monthly active users. And also solution allow to start SaaS business and manage it successfully. So it was just one example, and in general, what improvements we see for our clients when they start using serverless. First of all, it's cost optimization. When you use serverless architecture, you just pay for resources that you use. So it allows you to optimize cost. Also, for some of our clients, we see improvements with licenses. For example, for one client, we did migration from Microsoft SQL Server Enterprise Edition to use AWS DynamoDB and Aurora serverless databases. So now this client pay only for resources he actually use and do not pay for license. Another area we see that platform performance increases. And in some cases, we see that overall platform performance may increase up to 35%. Improvements in continuous deployment process. So with serverless, you can easily configure a full continuous deployment process on your project. with zero deployment downtime and with daily releases. Maintenance effort reduces. It's happening because serverless application, serverless architecture, and serverless services, they are fully managed, and you don't need to spend time on maintaining them. Also, all of them came with a rich set of monitoring tools, so you also don't need to spend time to configure and manage all of this. Platform availability rises. In some cases, we see that for some clients, it may rise up to 99 and 99%. And of course, security improvements. AWS provide a rich set of services that can be easily integrated with your platform, with your solution, and can significantly improve security of your platform. Now, let's take a look on another example. How many you can understand from this diagram? It's a simplified solution that Intetics built for one of our clients. Here, clients already had a big Java web application with a big number of Spring Boot microservices. Client wanted to build new feature on the platform. It's a recruitment platform with candidates and recruiters, and recruiters want to do automatically do some actions based on candidate activity on the site. For example, candidate followed recruiter profile, and recruiter want to automatically send greeting message to this candidate via internal messaging tool or, for example, via email. Why it was not that simple to implement this solution? Because there is big amount of services involved in candidate interaction with the platform, and also client want to avoid any change to existing core Java web applications. So AWS Serverless Services allow us to build closely coupled solution which can react on candidate activity in real time and perform actions that the recruiter want to do. Also, these services allow us to avoid any change to existing applications. And also, as all of them are fully managed, so it allows team to focus on business requirements and not spend time on configuring and maintaining infrastructure. Probably it's still difficult to understand what happened in this diagram. So let's move on and let's review what services AWS offer for us. When we speak about serverless, we usually think about computing. AWS offers us AWS Lambda and AWS Fargate compute services. If you have a code and you just want to just run it, you can use these services. At the same time, serverless is not only about computing. AWS offers us a big number of services for application integration, data store, and others. Let's briefly review most popular of these services. AWS Lambda, probably it's the most famous AWS service. So if you want just to write code and execute it somewhere, and you don't want to launch EC2 instance and manage it or do something else, you can use AWS Lambda service. This service also can automatically scale, so it can handle any spikes in requests to your platform. And for all of this, you just pay for execution time you use. Also, AWS Lambda has very few configuration options. So it's very simple to configure memory on Lambda level, and by doing it, you can optimize execution time. AWS Fargate. So if you heavily use Docker and you don't want to use Kubernetes or similar tools, you can use AWS Fargate. This service allows you to deploy and manage your applications and do not think about infrastructure. Also, it has native integration with Amazon CloudWatch Container Insight service, which provide all necessary monitoring information for you. And also for Fargate, you pay only for what you use. Amazon API Gateway. So if you want to build REST API, you can use this service. It can receive requests and route the traffic. Also, it can handle any spikes in traffic to your API. It's very simple to make security configurations there. It has lots of monitoring information and logging information, so you have everything ready out of the box. And also with API Gateway, it's very simple to configure cache on API Gateway level if it needed for your application. Amazon DynamoDB. If you want to store non-relational data and have millisecond performance, nearly unlimited throughput and storage, which will support automatic multi-regional replication, you can use this service. Amazon DynamoDB also secure your data with encryption at rest. It can do automatic backups and restores, and also it has a number of built-in tools that can perform analysis and give you some insights on data use. Amazon SNS, our simple notification service. It's AWS fully managed service that can be used for PubSub messaging, for SMS or email notifications, and also it can do even mobile push notifications. Amazon SNS, it's an event-driven hub that has native integration with a wide variety of AWS event sources and destinations. It supports message filtering and batching, which can help you to save some money when you use SNS. And also encrypted SNS topics can protect your event message data by unauthorized access. So we reviewed a couple of AWS services, and now let's look on how we can use them all together. Mostly all of us are building web applications or web platforms. Such platforms usually contain front-end and back-end parts. Most popular front-end frameworks today, it's Angular, React.js, and Vue.js. To host these applications, you can use Amazon S3 buckets. So user interact with front-end, and front-end make calls to back-end. On back-end, we usually have REST APIs. To build REST APIs with AWS services, I think you already guessed it, we can use Amazon API Gateway service. Amazon API Gateway service, when it receives request, it invoke Lambda to perform some business logic. It could be some calculations, or it even can invoke third-party API. To store application data, we can use Amazon DynamoDB or Amazon Aurora Serverless. At the same time, AWS Lambda can publish a message to SNS topic, so subscribers will be notified about the change in the platform. Messaging serverless architecture. What is it? So messaging architecture, it's a way how we can organize communication between two parts of our platform. In this case, we have a producer, someone who produces some data, some events, and we have consumers who want to subscribe to events and asynchronously process this data, these events. So let's imagine that Lambda from previous example publish event to SNS topic, and here we have another Lambda which subscribes to SNS topic, and when new event appear, it can do some business logic. And if needed, data can be stored again in Amazon DynamoDB or Aurora Serverless. And this data is available for use within the application. And the last one, it's business intelligence serverless architecture. So business intelligence itself, it referred to infrastructure that collects, store, and analyze the data produced by company activities. How such architecture can be built by AWS services. So here we may have any data sources that will produce data. Kinesis, it's AWS service that can collect, process, and analyze real-time streaming data and provide you some insights and give you possibility to act on new information very quickly. So this service here we can use to collect and stream data to storage. To store raw data, we can use Amazon S3 data lake. And to define data schema, we can use Glue data catalog service. And at the end, transform data that is stored on S3 can be stored on Redshift data warehouse for analysis. So now let's briefly speak about team structure. So let's imagine that you decided to use serverless on your project, whom you may need. Traditional development team structure include such roles as solution architect, person who design and build solution architecture, software developers, people who implement the solution, DevOps, person who is responsible for infrastructure, creating resources, maintaining, configuring them, and security engineer, a person who will make sure that your solution is secure. But if you want to build solution in AWS, as a minimum, you need to have AWS skills in your team. And ideally, you may need a few new roles in your team, such as cloud architect. It's a person who knows how to build cloud native solutions. Cloud engineer, people who care about AWS infrastructure, and cloud security engineer, a person who know what and how should be and may be protected in cloud. In real life, same people can play multiple roles. For example, solution architect, it also can play cloud architect role, and software developers, if they have strong AWS skills, they also can do AWS related tasks with other development work. So serverless approach has lots of benefits, but still there are some cases when you should avoid using serverless architecture. Factors that you need to take into account. Cost efficiency. As we discussed today, serverless solutions, they usually cost less than traditional EC2-based applications. Also, serverless allow your development team to focus on business logic implementation and do not spend a lot of time on configuring servers and spend time on infrastructure. But at the same time, serverless required to have strong AWS skills in your team. If you will use serverless services from AWS in wrong way, your serverless solution may cost more than just if you will just run your application on EC2 instance. System architecture. So you already may have defined frameworks and development processes and standards on your platform that are not suitable for AWS and serverless. So in this case, you may not want to introduce new tools in your platform. Large applications with a constant and predictable workload. For this case, serverless solution may cost more. And the last one, it's legacy applications that hard to refactor and hard to rebuild or extend. So sometimes you don't need to renovate whole or part of your platform where you don't expect to do any business logic change, as this renovation will take time and money when you don't have future plans. What is next? So serverless topic is wide. That's why we split material into series of webinars. This was first webinar. It's like introduction part to serverless. On next webinars, we will discuss how to build serverless applications on AWS. how to monitor such applications, and of course, we will discuss security topic. We collect worldwide expertise about cloud. So here you can take a look on comprehensive overview of cloud technologies white paper, take a look on case studies and reviews from our customers on Clutch, and also you can take a look on details solution that we built for our clients and case studies. And we welcome you to come us, and we are ready to make demo for you and to develop offer based on your business needs. So contact us for the demo. And now we are happy to answer your questions. And I think we already have a couple of them. So Matheus, let's answer them.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, so first one is, how do I maintain the security posture I need?
Okay, yeah, really important question, right? So, have in mind that AWS has the shared security model that I mentioned, where the AWS is responsible for the cloud, for the security of the cloud, and the customer are responsible for the security in the cloud. So with serverless, AWS manage many additional layers of infrastructure, including operation system and networking, for instance. So if you follow the principles of the least privilege and the best practice of securing serverless application, you can secure each resource with a granular or permission using the most familiar tool, like for instance AWS EIM, which can help you to give your boost security posture for your serverless application. And we're gonna go deeper on the next webinar, just talking about securing on serverless as well.
Okay, thank you, Matheus. I see another good question. So how does serverless lower costs?
Yeah, that's I think the one the most common questions, right? So think about if you use on-premise servers or even EC2 on AWS, you are likely not using 100% of the compute capacity all the time at all the times, right? So many customers only use 10 or 20% of the available capacity in their EC2 fleet at any point in time. So this average, is also affected by right availability and disaster recovery requirements, which typically, result in idle servers waiting for traffic from failovers, from disasters, right? So in the on-demand AWS Lambda compute model, for instance, you only pay per request and the duration of time. In addition to that, serverless architectures can lower the overall TCO, the total cost of ownership, since many of the networking, security, and DevOps management tasks are already included on the cost. So, in a most broad view, serverless can lower the cost.
Yeah, thank you. Let me see other question. So I think it's a very important one for developers. Like, as a developer, why should I use serverless?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. And in my presentation, I really pitch the developers being the core of the serverless transformation, right? So when you think about the serverless approach, we will allow you to minimize the undifferentiated workaround, for management servers, infrastructure, and the parts of the application that add less value to your customers. So serverless can make it easier to you to deliver more features and in application launch experiments and improvement in your team delivery velocity, while you only gonna pay for the value cost model. So as a developer, you only going to be focused on the code, right? Into writing the exactly code for your business. And as mentioned, we have a lot of integrations with SaaS applications, and the third-party application as well can help you to don't need it don't need it to experiment a different approach in terms of development. You can use the exactly tools that we are using right now to write serverless code.
Yeah, thank you. And also, I think on our next webinar, when we will discuss how to develop
Yeah.
and build serverless applications, we will cover it in more details, and hopefully developers will see that it's very interesting to build such applications. So let me review other questions. So I think this one is also a good one. What should be my next steps in learning serverless? And Matheus, maybe let me answer this question.
Okay.
So first of all, as we mentioned today, we are preparing a series of webinars, so just follow us. We believe they will give you a good start in learning serverless and using it on real projects. Also, I think you should check AWS training portal. We see lots of useful materials there, and many of them are free, so it might be very useful for you. Also, today we mentioned a couple of materials that were prepared at Intetics, so you also can find many useful information there. And you can follow us as we are working to prepare more and more new white papers and case studies with details on solution we build for our clients. What else? From our experience, AWS Game Days may be also interesting. We attend a couple of such events, and for us it was very interesting and useful to learn and practice AWS in game format when you have like safe and free environment, and you can just practice and learn something new. And of course, you can contact us and we can do demo and answer all your questions. Seems we still have a couple of more questions. We will follow up remaining questions offline after the webinar. And at the end, I want to ask a question for all attendees from our end. Where do you think Intetics can help you to introduce serverless on your platform? So you may think, and if you will have any ideas, you can again contact us and we will help you. So thank you so much for attention and see you soon on next webinar.
Thank you very much, Sergey. Really enjoy this with you, and I'm really looking forward for our next talk about serverless and dive deep on that. So thank you very much for having me here, and thank you, the audience
Thank you
as well.
too.